So currently, I'm in the process of watching just Alyx's recent live stream he did on AEW versus WWE, a toxic wrestling discourse on social media. And some of the things he's said so far, I haven't gotten to the meat of it just yet, but he's also going to be reading off what other people have had to say on social media, kind of like in response, basically read off what he feels is the best opinions when it comes to liking one over the other or both, if in some cases. But listening to what he's saying so far, and this is coming from somebody that even admits in the video he prefers AEW, from a product standpoint, from a presentation, basically, from a product standpoint and a presentation standpoint, when it comes to, telling us who the wrestlers are, what the stories are, what they're fighting for, basically, let's say if there's a feud going on, why this feud is important and things like that. He puts AEW at the top right there, and I do agree with him. Now, does WWE have some exceptions in their case? Absolutely. They do have exceptions. I mean, when you think about WWE, they have two ongoing storylines right now. One that's been going on since basically summer 2020. I think it's been summer 2020. Yeah, summer 2020. And that's Roman Reigns. His whole head of the table, tribal chief deal that he's been going on for almost 2 years. Basically, that's a storyline that's planned to culminate next year at WrestleMania if they stay the course with him and Rock. Now, whether or not that's for the championship is another story, but that's the course, that's the direction they are currently on course to, hit land for, if you will, or make. That's basically the goal. That is basically, the touchdown, the grand slam they want to try to make, next year, with Roman Reigns, depending whether or not he stays healthy. And that's a great storyline because here you have Roman Reigns telling fans, telling the locker room to an extent, you need to acknowledge me. I'm the tribal chief. I'm the head of the table. I'm the one that puts food on your table. I'm the reason you get a paycheck every week. I'm the reason you get featured on television, It's a great storyline. And to have it culminate with him facing Rock next year at WrestleMania in Los Angeles, Inglewood, California, that is a great payoff because what you'll be doing is essentially passing the torch to Roman Reigns from The Rock as the next big Samoan star. Now, in the process, could we see a Roman Reigns babyface turn, throughout this year building up to it? Absolutely. Absolutely, we could see a Roman Reigns babyface turn. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that whatsoever, that we could see a Roman Reigns babyface turn. I mean, there are rumors about that. But that may not happen till at least after WrestleMania next year. Because if they want to get to that point where he faces The Rock and whatever outcome they come up with for that match, that is when I think the process of a babyface turn will occur. Now, and that was just my dog. She's just waking up. She's got allergies. She's fine. But like I said, that's when I think a babyface turn will occur. Now, with that said, let's look at the other storyline they currently got going on, and that's Cody Rhodes. Cody just came back to WWE, and he's pretty much made it clear what his storyline is, last week. And that is to win the one championship his father never won, and that is the WWE Championship, or the Universal Championship, as he basically confirmed this past Monday on Raw. So they do have storylines pretty much that people are invested in or will be invested in. And to an extent, you got the thing going on with Edge and his House of Black or House of Darkness kind of thing going on there, which I think obviously we all know, seeing this, that even though it's a very intriguing, WTF, stable going on and storyline or whatever you want to call it going on, we know that it's all about Edge getting that undisputed championship. We all know that's what this is. We've seen it before, time and time again, but yet we know the purpose of it. We know the purpose of it. But, you know, you got that storyline to an extent, as well as some others. As well as some others when, you know, they decide to put some effort behind them and they don't just say, okay, we did what we could with it so far, let's shelve it and put this person in a tag team, or put this person on main event or in catering, or send them to NXT to help out, and that's it. That's it. You know, until they decide, okay, let's bring that person back, let's focus back on them, focus back on the storyline. You know, with those being the exceptions, again, the two main ones are Rhodes and Roman, which we know are on a collision course with each other eventually. So those are some storylines WWE has. There's no doubt. But when you look compare it to AEW, yes, AEW does focus on a multitude of storylines. They focus on a multitude of reasons as to why, you know, this person and this person are facing each other. You know, why this is happening, why that's happening. You know, I mean, the fact that Tony Khan tomorrow night has so far stacked up, you know, his Wednesday night edition of Dynamite with two pay-per-view quality main event matches in Penta El Zero versus CM Punk, and Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. That shows you that, you know, AEW has more, I guess you could say, more backbone, if you will, to make these kind of matches and give a reasoning for these matches happening. I mean, have we ever seen Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe? Ever? No. Have we ever seen Penta El Zero versus CM Punk? No. These, as far as we're concerned, are first-time matchups. You know, and they're going to be on a grand stage. And just by looking at these matchups, you might think to yourself, well, why are they even happening? Why is there, you know, is there a reason Samoa Joe's taking on Suzuki? Is there a reason Penta's taking on Punk? Of course there's a reason. Suzuki and Joe are known as two of the toughest, hard-hitting guys in the history of the business. That basically will not back down. Like, you basically have to, and I use this word carefully, put them to rest, if you get my drift, to win the match. With Penta and CM Punk, there's a storyline going on there where Punk wants to face the best because Punk wants to get the World Championship, and he knows the only way he's going to get to the World Championship is to beat the best that AEW has to offer. So there are storylines there. And also with Samoa Joe, you want to establish him as a main event guy right off the bat, because you know eventually you got to get him to that world title scene, because you know his career isn't long for this world. You know, due to the multitude of injuries he's had, you know, in WWE and outside of WWE. Well, prior to them, I should say. So you know this is a once in a lifetime opportunity with someone like Joe, as well as someone like Punk. So you want to put them in these kind of scenarios to where you know it's going to build them up to the desired destinations, that when you finally get there with them, people are going to be invested and they're going to be able to look back and say, okay, this is why they got to this point, if you know what I mean. You know, you even look at, let's say, the Undisputed Elite, or the UE, or the Paragon, or whatever they call themselves. You know, Cole, Riley, and Fish. There's a storyline there, believe it or not. And that storyline is the fact that they want to basically relive the glory they had in NXT, but in AEW. They want to relive it by capturing all the gold, just like they did there, and proving that no matter where they go, they are the best, you know, this business has ever seen. And then you have Hangman Adam Page, whose storyline is to prove to everybody that's doubting him as the world champion right now that he is, he is capable of being world champion. He is worthy of being world champion, and that he is not about to let this championship that he's worked his butt off for 2 years slip out of his hands, to somebody else that just wants to relive the glory days from a previous promotion. So There's a lot of different scenarios there that, from a storyline aspect and telling us why, when, and where, that makes AEW better in that department than WWE right now, because WWE only has one, two, maybe three exceptions in that department. But here's the thing, though. It doesn't matter how much of an advantage in that department AEW has over WWE or vice versa. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how much more focused on professional wrestling, AEW says they are and showcases they are than WWE is, or vice versa. The fact is, you can be a fan of both. You can be a fan of both. And it won't hurt. It won't hurt you in the long run. I mean, look, when I lived in Oskaloosa, Kansas from 94 to 2000, if you will, the one main wrestling channel that we had was TBS and TNT. Ironically, where AEW is right now. And guess what the main promotion was that I saw because of that? WCW. Now, did that make me a strong WCW supporter? Oh, heck yeah. No doubt. But here's the thing. I still held a place in my heart for WWF. And any now and then, when I'd be able to hopefully try to find or watch WWF, I would. If it was on syndication with Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, I'd watch it. If it was late at night with the new Shotgun Saturday Night Show or the Jack Show or whatever, I'd watch it. Whatever chance I would get, I would watch. If I had to go and rent a VHS from Blockbuster or from my local video store of a pay-per-view from them, recent one that is, I would. The thing is, I still love WWF, even though my primary wrestling program that I would watch every Monday and every Thursday, then Wednesday nights on television was WCW Nitro and WCW Thunder, and on Saturdays, WCW Saturday Night, and I think for a bit, WCW Pro on TBS, and WCW Worldwide in syndication. That was my main wrestling promotion to watch. But again, even though I became a major supporter of them, it didn't mean that my support for WWF, faded away. I still love WWF. I still did. Even to the point that one of the first wrestling games I bought wasn't just WCW Mayhem, for the PS1. It was also WWF Zone. Yeah. The fact is, you can love both. I mean, even when ECW got its national deal on TNT, when it was known as the Nashville Network, I knew about ECW even before then. Through magazines and all that, and even some video clips. And when I finally got the chance to see them and see what they were all about, I enjoyed it, and I became a fan. And here's the thing. Did it make me lose interest in WCW? No. Did it make me lose interest in WWF? No. I still was a fan of both. I just added ECW to that fandom. Heck, when I was younger, I would watch WWF, but at the same time, during the weekdays, here's AWA on ESPN, or USWA on ESPN, or, on the flip side, here's NWA on syndication, or NWA on TBS. Did I choose one over the other two? No. I enjoyed all of them. Heck, when Global Wrestling Federation was on ESPN, did I choose it over anybody else? No. I added it to my fandom. When WXO came on for a brief period, did I choose it over everybody else? No. I added it to my fandom. When the initial run of Women of Wrestling, WOW, was on, did I choose that over everybody else? No. I added it. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying, guys? It doesn't matter, what kind of wrestling promotion is out there, and whether or not they focus on wrestling more so than the others. If you're a fan, it's okay to enjoy all of them, no matter how ridiculous they may seem in some areas, how nonsensical they may seem, or how focused they are on this and how focused they are on that. You have the okay. You have the right to enjoy any wrestling out there. I mean, there were people that loved Chikara. amidst its silliness. Okay? Amidst its silliness, people loved Chikara. Did that mean that they didn't love WWF or TNA anymore? No. They just added Chikara to the list of wrestling companies they loved. I mean, you look at the landscape today. Besides WWF and AEW and even Impact to an extent, and the top 3 U.S. promotions, if you will. There are other promotions out there. New Japan, is one. AAA is one. CMLL is one. Pro Wrestling Noah is one. Rev Pro in Europe is one. MLW here in the States is one. You got Defy in the Seattle area. You got Portland Wrestling. POW, if you will, Brian Zane's promotion, or that at least he's part of. In Oregon. You got a variety of places. You got APW in the Bay Area. You got Big Time Wrestling in the various, territories and regions throughout the country. You have a lot of different choices. And guess what? It's fine to enjoy any and each and every one of them. I mean, when MLW puts on a new episode, I try to watch as much as I can on the YouTube page because I like what I see. I like the fact that not only are you seeing guys that you would see in AEW and potentially WWF and Impact, but you're seeing, a mixture of things that no other promotion's doing right now. I mean, MLW is taking a chance by mixing together Lucha Underground or the essence of Lucha Underground with the product. And it's great. It is absolutely great. And I love it. I really do. But does that mean I choose MLW over anybody else? No. I mean, I watch NWA Power. Does that mean I choose NWA Power or NWA USA over anybody else? No. When I would go and attend Central States Wrestling in NWA territory back in the mid to late 2000s before I moved back here, did that mean I chose Central States Wrestling over anybody else? No. I just added it to my love of as a wrestling fan. I added it to my fandom. The fact is this, folks. When you get down to it, you can have your opinions. There is no doubt. You could say one company is better at doing this than the other. You could say that this company needs to stop winding down and, sell off to somebody else so they can probably, get better or at least be preserved for historical reasons. You could say this, you could say that. It's your opinion. But it's also your opinion to be able to love each and every bit of wrestling that's out there. No matter how good or how bad it is. Whether it's a small promotion or major promotion, it doesn't matter. And that's how I look at this. And that's how Alyx, over time, I'm starting to look at it. That is how someone like the Schleg Daddy, Jeff Shigo, OTR Central is looking at it. Jason Solomon, a Solomon that Sounds Off looks at it. Even JD from NY206, from Off the Script, he looks at it that way too. I mean, Solomon and JD are announcers or a play-by-play commentary team for House of Glory. And there are people that love House of Glory. Does that mean they choose House of Glory over AEW? No. Does that mean they choose House of Glory over WWF? No. It's just another promotion they add to the love of wrestling as a fan, to their fandom. So yeah, even JD and Salamonster understand that. Greg Morgan, a good mic work, understands it. Bill Apter understands that. Bill Apter. The Bill Apter. He understands that. Jim Cornette. JC. He understands that. Dave Meltzer, believe it or not, understands that. Brian Alvarez understands that. Mike Johnson understands that. And the list could go on. The list could go on. Brian Zane, like I mentioned earlier, he definitely understands that. No DQ. One of the first YouTube channels that got me to check out other wrestling YouTube channels. No DQ with Jeff Meacham and Aaron Rift. They understand that. Chase Oliver understands that. The original Off the Ropes show crew, along with Jeff. Jeff Siegel, I should say. They understand that. Because when you get down to it, folks, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what promotion does the one thing better over the other. As long as you are an overall wrestling fan and you love wrestling overall, no matter how it's presented to you, it's okay. It's fine to enjoy it. No matter what others may say. Because what others are saying about certain promotions, like AEW, WWF, and so on, is mainly for the fact that they've been die-hard fans with said promotion since its beginning. Or basically, they've turned against one promotion and gone to the AEW side because they're rebelling, as I've mentioned before, rebelling at the fact that this company that they know could do better should do better, and if they want them, and that if said company wants them back as fans, that they need to do better. And vice versa. There are people that will criticize AEW because they feel it's nothing more than a showcase for the Bucks, Omega, and Page. And all the flips and kicks and all that. And then it's nothing more than TNA 2.0 or a hybrid version, modern day hybrid version of WCW, ECW. And that's fine. That's your opinion. People could say WWF is nothing more than a clown show, with a few exceptions. And that's fine. That's your opinion. Some could even say freaking GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, is the place to be. It is the greatest wrestling promotion in the world because it gives you a mixture of everything, but it also gives you that hardcore, bloodlusting wrestling style that we all love and that everybody else should have. And if you feel that way about GCW, fine. That's your opinion. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, when you get down to it, you can have an opinion on how you feel about different promotions. But in the end, it's fine to enjoy all of it. And the way I look at it is like this. The way you enjoy all of it is exactly what people like Paul Heyman once said in The Rise and Fall of ECW. You accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. And I don't think better words could have ever been said. So as a wrestling fan, you want to be opinionated about what you don't like when it comes to all these promotions, that's fine. You want to give your opinion on what you do like, that's fine. But if you truly want to end this toxicity in wrestling, if you will, or as Alyx titled it in his video, Toxic Wrestling Discourse on social media. And as Paul Heyman said in that DVD documentary, hide the negatives, accentuate the positives. And that goes for all promotions. WWE, AEW, MLW, New Japan, Impact, you name it. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments as well as in the live chat from here. We're Super Chats, and I will put this in the description. Super Chats are open. It would be appreciated, especially now since I have a little bit of a federal due, and I'll just put it that way, that needs to be taken care of. Also check me out at VENMO at Brian-Warmer-2 to help support me there financially as well. Also check me out at Cash App at BWRoses98. And check me out at deviantart.com/BVW1979. Check me out at patreon.com/BWRoses, where I have a new video up, and it's coming close, maybe today, to being uploaded publicly on YouTube, where you could see it for $3. And you also have a $1 tier there as well for a shout out if you choose to choose either one of them. Also check me out at BWRoses Discussions, all your favorite audio podcast platforms except for Pandora, and check out my Teespring store as well for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. But again, guys, I wanted to do this as a response to the video I'm currently watching by Alyx right now. And Alyx, if you do watch this, thank you for doing this video, because it is going to inspire a lot of people to do similar videos like what I'm doing, to speak on the same thing as well and give our own opinions and take on the situation. But until next time, guys, talk to you later.